Now, you mentioned that you're not a big fan of fantasy and porn when it comes down to really exploring your sexuality, right? And then you actually mention healthy masturbation. So, can you explain why you're not a big fan of porn and fantasy and why that actually hurts men? And what do you mean by healthy masturbation?
All right. That's a good question. Now, I occasionally get asked, is there anything like in my books I wished I'd written differently, or I wished I'd not included, or wished I did include? And in general, no. Now, there's two terms that I've used, one in No More Mr. Nice Guy and one in Dating Essentials for Men. And I wished I'd used terms that didn't get so confusing to men. Because one of my general rules about men is that if we can get confused, we will.
Yeah.
Men will go, I just don't understand what you're talking about. And I'm going, this
Yeah.
isn't rocket science. You're not
Yeah.
confused. It just is contrary to your paradigm of the world. All right. So I'm not opposed to fantasy, masturbation, or porn in general. I think in general, the way most men do those things is not good for them, not in their best interests. Okay. So, like, for example, I've been in relationships with partners where my partners would go, let's watch porn together. And I go, okay. The partner wants to watch porn and we'll sit and watch porn until usually I'm bored to tears. It's often the woman's kind of like getting on.
Really?
I'm going, oh, to me, most porn is just so fucking,
Fake.
staged and
Yeah.
fakey and silly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's turn the volume down. All those fake groans and sighs are getting to be too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm too much of a realist. You can't
Yeah.
even take me to a chick flick or a romantic movie, and I'm just going, oh come on, that is so fucking
Yeah.
unrealistic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So so there's nothing wrong with porn. And two people want to share it together. A person by themselves want to watch it and enjoy it. That's fine. But unfortunately, it for a lot of people, for a lot of men, it turns into what I call safe sex. It becomes an escape from having real, vulnerable sex with a real human being. All right. And I tell people, we all have a sex drive. We've been talking about that. And it's called a sex drive because it's supposed to drive you to another human being and put body parts in their body parts. That's what a sex drive is meant to do. Right. Whether you're gay or straight, it's supposed to drive you to another human. It's not meant to drive you to your hand and your computer screen or your smartphone. Now, another real big problem is it addicts you to your fetishes. Okay. Okay, so maybe you're attracted to big breasted blonde Amazonians, or maybe you're attracted to petite shaved Asians, or maybe you're attracted to, dogs and hula hoops. I don't know.
Mm.
Gerbils. Whatever it is, if you watch that enough time and you keep running your nervous system to where you keep getting aroused and ejaculating to the same thing, believe it or not, it gets to be you have to have that fetish to get aroused and to ejaculate. And so now, even if you do have real sex with a real human being, most people who kind of really get into the porn thing, they have to fantasize about their fetish or get their partner to do the fetish in order for them to get aroused and to get off.
Yeah.
Now, another problem is not only getting, hyper addicted to our fetish, whatever that might be, it also creates unrealistic standards of the opposite sex or who we're attracted to and sex itself. For example, you mentioned loneliness earlier. I mean, so many men out there, we have all the tools. You can go to a dating boot camp. We got the internet. We got Match.com. You got Instagram. You got your swipe right apps. You got your Tinder. You got your Bumble. You got your Field. You can find bukus of beautiful women. And what happens for a lot of guys is they actually never even approach anybody or never actually settle down with one person because, hey, there might be more beautiful women I miss out on. And so now all of a sudden we have this standard. Well, she's not pretty enough. She's not hot enough because I can go see all these hot women. I've had guys tell me, unless I can date a 10, I'm not going to date at all. And guess what? They don't date at all because they don't have the social skills or the qualities to date a 10. And I go, that's like saying, unless I can drive a Bentley, I'm not going to drive. And I go, start with a Honda Civic, fuck a few fatties, work your way up, get some experience, right? I believe in that, right?
Uh-huh.
So porn can get you to where, no, I only want those really hot women. And I tell guys, for
Yeah.
example, your great grandfather probably saw 3 beautiful women in his whole lifetime, and he probably didn't see any of them naked. I can see thousands of beautiful women a day naked. You can go to the mall and just watch women walking around in their Lululemons, and you go, that would have ended them up in jail probably 40 or 50 years ago wearing
Really?
the stuff in public. Oh, I love Lululemon. I wear Lululemon. I'm wearing
Yeah.
Lululemon shorts right now. So I buy Lululemon for my wife. I love it. But my point is, we can get addicted to this unrealistic expectation
Yeah.
of how the women have to look and then what the sex is like. And I promise you, most of the stuff that guys like to look at in porn is not the stuff that turns women on. It's just nothing of the same thing.
Yeah.
So living in that fantasy porn masturbation world works against us having a healthy, expressive sex life with one or more people. And so, in just in a lot of ways, it works against us. Okay. Your other question about healthy masturbation. That's the term I wish I'd come up with, maybe a different term. Because what guys will say, Robert, I read what you say about, porn and masturbation, and I get it. So, I'm not looking at any porn. I'm not fantasizing. I'm just touching my body, learning to feel pleasure in my body, learning to experience sensations. But I don't get hard and I don't come. And I go, well, you missed the point in the book. The point of the book was learning to experience pleasure without an agenda of, because, for most guys, sex means get hard, stick my dick in a hole, any hole will do, ejaculate, and then that's good sex. All right. And good sex is so much more than that. Most men never really feel real pleasure in their bodies because they're so focused on their genitals and ejaculating, or so focused on getting the woman off, they don't feel anything. I used to be that way as a nice guy. All my attention went to the woman.
Yeah.
So the healthy masturbation, the intention of it is learning to get a goal or an agenda out of sex and let pleasurable, enjoyable feelings unfold and experience them for what they are. So that's the hard part for most men. We have a hard part detaching from the outcome. So, okay, I'm going to practice healthy masturbation. I won't use fantasy. I won't use porn, but I still want to get a hard on and come within 3 minutes because I don't have all night. I want to get this done with.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd probably give it a different name than healthy masturbation. I'd probably call it healthy self-pleasuring or something, something different, just again, so men don't get unnecessarily confused.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so pretty much you're just saying try to please yourself without having some sort of agenda or using something that's kind of fake, to be honest, to program your mind to see what sex is. That's what you really view as healthy masturbation.
It's a good practice. I'm not saying you shouldn't ever do X, Y, or Z. I'm not going to preach at anybody. I just know that for most people, pornography can become so habitual,
Yes,
such a habit,
it's
and
like a
so
drug.
isolating. And I'll add one other thing. A lot of men, for example, that begin to take accountability for their porn use will identify as a sex addict. And I don't think actually most guys that look at porn are really truly sex addicts. I think most are shame addicts. That in Western culture, probably Eastern culture as well, I'm sure, looking at porn is one of the best ways there is to feel bad about yourself because it is so demonized in culture. That's why I don't want to demonize it more. So for a guy, okay, I got 7 minutes. I'm going to go somewhere where nobody will see me, and see if I can rub one out, and hope I don't get caught, And I know I've told my wife, girlfriend, whatever, I'm not going to do this again. Oh, if she catches me, all hell to pay. Or I'll quit this once I get a girlfriend and start having real sex. Nobody does. They don't quit it when they start having real sex. They just hide it from their partner. Or I can't really even get a partner now because if I get one, I'm either going to have to quit looking at porn, which I like, or I'm going to have to tell her I look at porn, which may make her reject me. So I'll just wait a while longer if I even try to get a partner. So there's just so many negative
Yeah.
consequences to that. And I think what it actually is doing is keeping person stuck in what I call a shame compartment that just, sneaking off to look at porn keeps you feeling bad about yourself, which is part of the attraction. Because remember, most of us had our earliest and most powerful sexual experiences in a shame based experience. So feeling shame feels normal and it amps up. I mean, sex is already powerful enough as it is. Wrap it up, crosswire it with shame, you're 10xing, the amplitude of those sexual impulses and those sexual behaviors. So, and that's another thing that a lot of guys actually don't like is when you start taking them out of that shame compartment and they actually start revealing their shame. You know, I've had nice guys sit in my office and show me the porn they look at on my office computer. I've done it on Zoom where, we'll do a screen share. Show me what you look at. And what happens is that drive to look at it goes away. And they'll tell me 2 weeks later, I haven't even had the
Wow.
impulse to look at it because they shared it with me. They released a lot of shame. But something else that happens for a while is that their sex drive starts dropping in general because they're not artificially stimulating it with
Wow.
so much regularity. Then they get kind of concerned about that. Oh, is there something wrong with me? No, you're actually just resetting your sex drive to the factory settings. You hyped it up, 10x'd it, with all the shame of culture, hiding, early experiences, trauma, porn, masturbation, fantasy, secrets, all that. We're just getting you back to where the factory settings were that you came into this world with.
Got it. Okay.